So there's this new thing. It is like, now it's coming out. It's going to come out in many different places, and people are going to recognize it, that local communities are going to start up.
Mm-hmm.
And my job is to come out and work on some of the templates for these communities so that people who don't want to live in the system anymore can be protected from the system. Basically living off grid, but with some people who are living on the grid, or like 1 foot in the grid. That makes sense.
Yep.
So that there's an interaction with the outside world, but at the same time there's lots of nurturing between each other, and everyone gets to express themselves exactly how they wish. And these people are now going to get the chance to start meeting up. This occasion is basically like a soul grouping. People who have basically a high degree of comfort with your own interests. And you can be part of more than one soul group. That's what's actually kind of was new to me. But, you know how, like, you might fit in with the collective imagination people who are in there, or you might be into the spirit science people, or they might be into, a drum below, gang. And everyone is sort of attracted to different sort of types of people.
It sounds like local realities forming, is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, actually, my local group turned out that with Andrew, at that point, was a large number of radio hosts, like spiritual radio host people.
Yep.
And I basically got introduced to lots of people doing a lot of wonderful work in the realm of interviewing, great people and all that on a regular basis. I'm like, I felt a little out of place because, I'm kind of new to being online and stuff. But it didn't matter because ultimately the information needs to get out now. I mean, like, everybody needs to network. This information does need to cross many different levels. And, it doesn't take a whole lot of skill to just speak your mind. You just have to have some courage sometimes. And
well, it's very interesting you should say that, because the last couple of weeks, what I've been led to think about and look into, one of the things is pushing the information that we're dealing with in the collective imagination and the One People show and privately between ourselves, pushing that outwards as hard and as fast as possibly we can towards the mainstream media. In other words, networking through the radio station system and through the audience outwards.
Sure. Yeah. I'm about to run out of time for using my own Facebook and Skype now. Because I've got all these projects that I'm initiating, like the templates. I have a bunch of data that I have to start disseminating. I'm going to see if I can take this in order of interest for me. These communities, almost all of them will start at a very grassroots level. It's not like you need to go out and do something. Like for me, I'm interested in literally going and getting and renting a place for people to come and just, that's it. I'm not asking for money. If I align with you and we have something to share and, you're part of my soul family, then I'll feel real comfortable, with supporting the needs if you have issues where you have too much trouble living in the old grid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are going to do more and more of offering their homes to people, because there's a lot of the people who are have to be off the grid or can't stand it are actually profoundly powerful people and have really profound experiences to share. And so those who, can help them be in a space of comfort where they can be nourished and people can find a common space to come and work with them too, it's going to be really, really useful for everyone's basically fulfillment. I mean, there's lots of stuff you can do over the air, but one-to-one is nothing compares with that. It really doesn't. When you can hold the other person's hands and look into their eyes, that's the kind of communities I'm talking about. Physical, location, community, communal type things. I'm not saying communes or anything, that says you need to sign up for anything. It's pretty much all very open-ended. People are journeying around. They might want to, visit different people around the country, and And this is like, not like a hostel, but something a lot more basic than that. So the templates for setting these up are going to be basically designed for each type of soul group. There's like, over 2,000 different soul groups, which means that they're kind of interested in a different set of flavors in terms of waking up type information,
Yep.
And so they're all going to find sort of like safe havens, and it'll start to become really good for people to find their like-minded and really be able to express and share and, perhaps work on projects together that will sustain the space.
Yeah.
But also doing things like setting up actual energetic boundaries so that those that are not within the vibratory intent of the space are just not going to find themselves invited there or won't be comfortable being there for very long, right? Because we're all worried about, like, we don't want to have, like, homeless people just showing up, basically. We want people that, are really, really resonant like we are, the way that Shasta was offering that experience for many people who showed up. Not everybody's the same kind of spiritual journeyer. There's many different journeys on that road, and to find those that are supported for you is really you designate the energy of the space, and there's lots of rituals that can be used to help set that up. You can invite ancestor spirits to guard it as well, because they're a high conscious, non-physical entity that has very few limits in terms of doing, being like a guard dog or whatever. But that will contribute to the initiation of the local realities, because those people that are finding themselves in this space of empowerment through discovering true essence of reality beyond our five senses, they're going to be the initiators of the local realities that has been coming up in subjects, and I think I might have mentioned.
Yeah.
They're really...
This brings up two questions. Well, two comments. And this came up during my initial interviews with Andrew, and it's come up elsewhere as well. Even Cliff High's data showed this. Migrations of a lot of people moving around. Is that where you think one of the side effects will be of this whole thing?
So you know how, like, when you're, like, drawn to go somewhere, what is drawing you? Well, a big side energy that, big magnet draw.
Okay, a little bit of a signal problem here. Just hang on a sec, we'll see if Julien pulls back in. Hopefully he will. Julien, are you there still? Okay, well, Julien's reception dropped into a black hole. So this will be the second file, and I just checked my recorder, it's all working, so we're good to go. And we lost you. We were talking about local realities and about large-scale migrations of people. Yeah.
So, just like anyone who begins to sort of venture into the spiritual starts to recognize energy and true excitement when it doesn't seem to make sense, this is going to be a normal format, and people are going to start to recognize this all over the place and be like, these synchronicities are telling you information here. You might as well just start checking this out. But for the most part, a lot of people are already established where they need to be. They're already in the cities, and they already have their kind in, wherever they are. So it doesn't mean that you should expect that you have to start traveling or something like that. It's just people who have been in the business of looking for like-minded for a while are going to be sort of acting as like the initiators of what a local reality looks like and how it works. And it's going to start with maybe a safe house. Someone basically decides to rent a house, and anybody who wants to move in that agrees with the intent of the surroundings of the people at that house, they can basically say, we want people that are at our space of understanding and all this. and you make declarations and all these sorts of things, and you do rituals, but you get to create a magnet for those that are of like mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a like place of experience. And just like the mountain attracted, and just like Morocco had its own attraction and other people doing these migrations, you'll basically find your way to things. Not like you're just going to like get on a train and be like, jump off the train when you feel it's appropriate. I mean, yes, there'll be plain insight data that you'll be attracted to, and the world will conspire to make it very easy for you to follow your nose, sort of thing. And
excellent.
don't assume that you have to. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say because that's already. I mean, to me, that's already kind of started happening. There was discussion during the shows, as you heard during the shows. Trevor Osborne from Perth has announced he wants to put into action 3 of the healing centres that he's been planning for years. And we've got some communication after the show from another group up in Queensland who would like to do something similar off their own bat. So, they're pretty much already queuing up to go. And it sounds like you've got enough people around Seattle to make something happen quite quickly there. Yeah,
for myself. I mean, in the end, my desire is so great now. My heart energy is like, I so love the people from my soul family. I want to make a place for them to come and, be able to spend time together, because I didn't want this experience over the weekend to end. I'll be quite honest. It is really heartbreaking. But even so, a lot of them are showing up in Seattle, and I think I'm gonna do my best to nail Andrew down from going back to Ohio too quickly, and we'll start working on it in Seattle, I think. So there's also, I've been getting really profound information on how to do on how to come up with projects that would free me from the 9-to-5 type of income. Mm-hmm. Like projects that would be really super highly effective business models that, could basically just require a couple of different types of artisans of different sorts. And if they came together, well, then you basically have a running business, with a good profit margin at the level that, would support a small community. Mm-hmm. And anyhow, it just depends on, tons of things like that. Yeah.
It doesn't take that much money to live if you don't set your aspirations to a really exotic standard.
Right, and if you're, and if you're actually, everyone is supporting each other, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not too hard to run a household. But the thing is, it's not like everyone is expecting to keep their distance. These soul families, they're like, I want to bunk with them, and I want to bunk with you tomorrow night, and, I want to be in your room tomorrow night because we're just going to chat it up all night anyway.
Exactly. Exactly. So what were the other things that the Pleiadians were putting to you, apart from this information about... You're gonna flip out. You're gonna flip out, so hold on to your pants. Flip away. I'm sitting down.
They have been working with somebody on the planet. I think it's more than one person. But they're going to initiate Internet 2.0 is what I'm calling it. It's already designed. It's already working because the Pleiadians invented it. It's just coming down to Earth and being set up. It's going to be an Internet that runs over our current Internet service, and then eventually it's going to run side by side with the current Internet. Okay? Mm-hmm. And what it can do is it can access all the data from the original Internet. Okay?
Yes.
But what it is. It's a liability internet. So a little bit like Project 13, your presence is obvious when you're in there. So to engage in that, you're basically observed where you go by others in the same place. So you're constantly working from an avatar point of view. Right? It doesn't mean you have little arms and legs and a face, but your presence is just like if you were to walk around a shopping mall or through your town, right? people could decide to say, hey, who are you and what are you doing here, or something, if they bothered to do that. So your internet presence is highly reflective of your profile in terms of who you care to be as you use this tool. So all the data from the old internet is available, but what comes with the new one is an artificial intelligence that basically understands who you are and what you're interested in. So there's no more Googling anything. There's just asking the artificial intelligence to, help you with what you're interested in and keep you up to date at the kinds of frequencies that you're interested in on whatever subjects. And it'll only find the sources that spell it in ways that you're comfortable. It's like in the kind of voice that it's like it knows every little detail about what you like. Now, in today's society, profiling and, typecasting, all this, it's very scary shit because, that's basically makes your information very valuable for marketing. But this system doesn't run on marketing at all. It runs on matchmaking. Everything is matchmaked to you. And if you're the kind of person who doesn't like to be, shown different sorts of, Nike shoes, well, then you don't get shown Nike shoes. You never get to see Nike shoes, right?
But I presume if you did need a pair of Nike shoes, you could go and find them.
But yeah, exactly. But you'll just say that. You'll be like, I need some running shoes. You'll tell, Internet 2.0 that knows who you are. And it'll be like, oh, I know exactly which ones you are going to like because I know you inside out. It's almost like it can read your own Akashic and your own like aura. It knows how you feel too.
So Julien, where does the AI reside?
It resides in a hard drive in a computer that you have. Everyone has their own computer, and basically it can run right now, but it'll only run on the most powerful computers out there, right? It's a highly visual interface, non-text-based interface. It's highly, okay, so the Pleiadians, their monitors that I've seen are about anywhere between 3 to 5 inches deep, and it looks like a fish tank, and the information is like three-dimensional, and when you're standing in front of it, it has quite a bit of depth, and you put your fingers into it if you want to put your fingers into it like a mouse, but you also get like a trackball as well, which is helpful. Interesting. And but that's not necessarily how we have to experience it. But the interface is a three-dimensional depth field. Now we can do this with our monitors right now. It'll just be sort of like emulated the three-dimensional depth.
Okay, and I presume there's no data mining or anything related, anything feasible like privacy of data, that kind of thing.
So your computer is the data miner. Your individual computer is your data miner. And because you can have more than one person using the same computer, basically it knows your identity when you stand in front of it. It's automatic almost. And
what I was asking was, how private is your data?
It's as private as you choose it to be. But for the most part, your data is all about matchmaking. So if you say something like, if you say that you're single and you like redheads, you can say that to the computer. You say, I'm single and I like redheads. So every redheaded single person that matches your profile who's looking for goofy nerds like yourself will find the matchmaking sort itself. Because you gotta remember that it's like hyper identity recognition. Because every time you use it, it's refining who you are in that moment. Because you're also a changing person, right? So there is some exploration. I'm not saying there's no exploration, but it really it's like matches you up with all the data. And if there's other people that have matches in ways that you're interested in, it'll only share with the information on the level that you're interested in. It won't tell you. It won't show them, your kitty photos or something like that. That might be embarrassing, seeing you in the tub to like someone you potentially want to date. It's like it knows what you're just telling you. It's an artificial intelligence that knows you.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So what's the timeline for that actually appearing?
Right now it's almost a year from now. Right about a year from now. So summer next year, the computers are all going to be coming out is going to be getting computers for free, not from the Pleiadians. We're going to make them, but there's a high expectation that we're going to be in a completely different society at that point for their projections, and that Internet 2.0, people are going to start to be able to receive them, and by the end of next year, pretty much no one's going to want to use anything but the Internet 2.0. Oh, even the best part is it connects to the Pleiadian networks and the other galactic networks. You're actually on a higher network system. Higher network system.
Now
and you don't have to...
That is exciting. That's the exciting bit.
That's right. And you don't have to hire a cable service. It has like its own like wireless internet antenna in the computer itself. So there's no hookup anywhere. And of course, free energy is probably going to make it so you won't even have to plug it in too. So,
look, if we get new communication systems, they'll be running on quantum non-local systems. So there won't be radio frequency connections. They'll use frequencies that don't damage the body. There's frequencies that are at levels of harmonics that you really can't play with right now. I mean, they're all discovered. They just people are thinking it's just going to be too hard to make these changes for society. But basically, what it comes down to, and what we're facing in the near future, and all the timelines is, look, this is fucking more efficient. Yeah.
This gets more work done. We're putting all our marbles in here.
Yep.
And it's not going to be any kind of corporate agenda anymore. It's happening right now. These safe houses are just sort of like needles in a haystack at the beginning. They need to hide within the manure pile, so to speak. But they will grow and they'll expand, and those who are being attracted, these communities will grow. They'll become the local realities. And then there'll be just enough of them so that the event can be triggered, so that people will be able to find their people, and that everyone will already know exactly how to control your local dream reality. And it'll be basically common knowledge, because people who just have to, can't stand it right now, they'll already have their local realities established.
Now, those dream realities that you just spoke of were the other part of this direction that we're going in. And in fact, you mentioned earlier that some of the people at Shasta were having the same dreams. Yes,
actually, no. There are so many people sharing dreams. It was stupid. It wasn't like, I think I saw you in your dream last night. I was like, yeah, I remember that too. No, it's like 5 people. Like, we were all there, and we did this. And oh my God, it was so profound. Every night that I slept there, it was like, go ahead and take a jackhammer to my head. Everything that I thought of the day before is all like, and it's all development. Like, everything that I went through is like it built on the day before. And it happened just so perfectly. I could have never planned it. And that's the kind of like let go and let someone's a little more clever, like your higher mind, just, organize it for you. Because you've been waiting for you to just be able to be in just the right environment with everyone doing it at once. So it's almost like it's not about removing the cabal. I'm like, they could stay. If I could make my own local reality and be just freaking fine in it, great.
Well, that's
I don't mind if it's... Yeah.
And you probably get there's an undercurrent of that in even in the conversations we had this week. Are we trying to replace the old system or fix the old system, or are we just going to go and build something better? And I'm up for the latter. I'm up for building something better.
Over there.
Yeah, let's go over there and take our ball and our bat over there, and we'll see you later. Have a good time.
Yeah.
And that's a far better thing to be putting energy into than trying to fix something that's irretrievably broken. But getting back to the Pleiadians, anything else on the list of exciting stuff?
Well, I don't know. Well, fine, I'll just say it. My DNA has become Pleiadian now, like almost 100%. I'm nearly a full representative now. Something along the lines of how Teal Scott is a representative for the Arcturians.
Of how what a representative of the Arcturians?
Teal Scott. She's she shares a lot online and stuff, and has videos on YouTube and things.
Uh-huh.
And she, you know, teaches and stuff. So don't worry about it. People who know Teal Scott will know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But you think you've actually shifted into being, you know.
I'm near the heart. The heart energy on that night with the 1,850 that I got pulled out there. That's it. That was a full DNA clean.
So that was an upgrade. Yeah. That was an upgrade as well as being an experience of being licked by 1,850 puppies. Is that what you were saying before?
Basically, yeah. You can't walk up to me now without getting a hug and a smile and a second hug.
Oh, cute.
And a kiss, depending on how comfortable I think you'd take it.
Yeah, well, I was just trying to imagine what it's like being jumped on by 1,850 Reuben the dogs.
Well, you know, it might get a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
But I was like, but yes, if you've heard about opening up your heart chakra,
mm-hmm.
Well, like that happens so quickly. I just want to share that changes can happen in as short as 20 minutes.
Mm.
Okay? Everything that happened in Shasta was a microcosm of the macrocosm that those who experience that and places like Morocco are just dying to share and help others explore. It's like a feverish passion at this point. Right? So it's no surprise that the group that I was connected with were a lot of radio show people that, were following up with Andrew Bartz's data. His data wakes people up. You don't even have to listen to it. You can fall asleep.
Yep. Okay?
But you're right, as he says, you're basically integrating your soul code. Okay?
Yep.
So there's almost nothing I can fear anymore. Because even the nastiest parasites that, are trying to take me out, my soul family's right there to help me. Everyone was really supportive. On my drive, I left the park. I was intuitively at. We found that one of us had this huge crystal ball, like absolutely amazing crystal ball. Probably, if you were to price it and sell it in the market, it'd be like $1,000 crystal ball or something. I said, I'm going out there, and I'm going back to Seattle. I'm going to be at a lack of sleep, and it's going to be dark, and I'm going to face my family as the new me, and I'm going to need a lot of energy to go through this. Which I'm willing to do. I'm a trooper, so to speak. But would you all be willing to share some energy with me so that I can make it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just going to Seattle all night. I'm going to work too.
Yep.
The old work. And so this crystal ball, basically, I was guided to ask them all to put their hand on it and share a bit of energy, so that I would have the spunk to make it through. And it's working really well in terms of the energy, but it wasn't more than 15 minutes after leaving Mount Shasta that I got literally attacked with extreme fatigue. Like you just want to accidentally drive off the road fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
And then, 10 minutes later, I felt like I just made up that whole weekend. And something that was in my head was trying to make me believe that, I'm going to return to this world and no one's going to believe any of this crap, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm just some crazy hippie or something. But after each of those, they only lasted about a minute of that sensation, and then it was just gone. And I was like, how did that happen? And I realized that the crystal energy, the personality within the crystal ball had actually basically taken care of them.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man.
Very interesting you should mention that. I've arrived at a theory that because I've found it for some time very hard to do distance driving at night, to the point where it's ridiculous. And I just wondered whether in fact it's someone trying to do a job on me from a distance. if you get what I mean.
No, you're just it's a high state of vulnerability because you're supposed to be in dream time, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And everything that your body is doing is trying to get you to go to dream time, okay? It's not trying to actually kill you, but everything that knows that you're in a weakened, compromised state of energy will come hunt you down.
Uh-huh.
But especially coming from what I just came from. They were like basically blocked out. It was only the more serious attacks could come into the mountains environment. And like immediately, once I was out of the environment on the highway, I mean, I wasn't tired 10 minutes before, but I was like ready to nod off. And just such a short span of time, all of a sudden. And it was like, that is not normal.
Interesting.
That is not normal.
Interesting. Well, look, we'll get back to our agenda so we don't drift too far from it. Anything you wanted to add to what the Pleiadians, or what you can talk about from the Pleiadian side now, anyway?
So this is the very best freaking awesome part ever. When we master our local reality, like communities and safe houses, they will visit those if they're in tune. So our galactic races will come and visit those because they'll be protected enough that they will come visit as a visitor, perhaps in human form, maybe not, and they, maybe totally alien looking and pajamas or whatever, and they will share the space that they now feel comfortable within, and these spaces will expand, right? You'll go out to the farmer's market, and everyone around you will be like, wow, you're glowing or something, and you'll actually expand the bubble of your local reality to all around you. Note, it takes these people that are going to live in a high energy space, and they're basically going to paint their environment wherever they want because they won't leave that environment for too long, and they won't feel like leaving their environment for too long.
Interesting.
So it's like everyone turns into like a walking fire and like starts burning everywhere they go, but eventually they run out of fuel, so they need to go back to the source, their highly magnetic space in their safe house or community, and just immediately recharge amongst each other.
Wow.
We're in a co-created world, so no one's going to do this by themselves. Nobody.
Interesting.
Okay? So find your people. You'll find the most sincerest, profound love for who you are and for the subjects that you enjoy when this occurs.
Excellent.
Almost everybody listening to this will know what I'm talking about, or will actually gain a recognition for the value and what that will serve. But there are many others who are going to be observing, what are you doing? And then they'll find how you basically reach a place of bliss and how synchronistically your life is so much easier.
Yeah.
Project 13 is like a taste of Internet 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
But the local groupings is a taste for when we have full reunification with our with our galactic families, because the soul families extend into those spaces.
Yes, they do. Well, that's the whole point. I mean, you've told me that I have some soul family on one of the Pleiadian ships, and I have information that extends to the Syrians as well. So that'll be an interesting time, very interesting time. Look, I'll keep going down my list of things here, Julien. So we're about done with the Pleiadians. Did you actually have any more other experiences with Telos apart from the floating white city?
So that was not Telos. That was Ashoka, and like I mentioned before, it's supposedly like a twin city, but it's also an air city.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how much I should share. I had like a 2 to 3 hour talk around the campfire, like from 1 to 4 in the morning one night with Andrew, and we were doing a real interesting roundtable with the Pleiadians. And lots of really juicy stuff came out. So I haven't really stored up what I should share. So if you just give me a second, I can key up.
Yep. We'll find
what
out
they're
what
willing to share from that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a bunch of, I don't want to say they're mission stuff, but they basically reveal information about dark side forces and how they're being rounded up and taken care of that I can share. Basically, the Pleiadians are like the kind of people who like to have their hands in everything, and they fit in well with just about all the other galactic cultures and societies. So they do well when they do research and they share it with everybody. But what's coming around is that there are a couple of societies that are on the more negative side of things, like some of the Greys and what, that are acting real feisty right now. And when I say feisty, I mean they're gonna do some pretty crummy things. I don't want everybody to be scared because they're basically, the mission is to do the best they can from the Pleiadian and Andromedan and Arcturian and Syrian side of things to basically turn those into their own form of disclosure. It's almost like they can't be clever enough to not make it go to the benefit of the light. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like, we have like the human counterparts, the Cabal and all that, screwing around and making it worse on themselves, shooting themselves in the foot.
Yes.
So this is actually going to happen for the dark entities as well.
Good. Glad to hear that.
So, yeah, and it's going to be real interesting because it's probably going to be way beyond the point where everyone already believes there's ships and stuff. But they're also going to start. This is where I felt a bit uncomfortable. If they wanted me to start going around and I'm putting myself on a spot here, but I'm okay. They're offering me a lot of love. No.
You don't have to talk about it.
I'm not going to say anything I'm not supposed to right now. But I'm going to start sorting out information that is incomplete in other groups where there's a little bit of dark influence. Okay. I'm meant to go in there and clean that out. And so I need to reveal the data, and so that people can see it for what it is and why they don't feel comfortable with it. So it's like I can vet information really, really quickly with the Pleiadians' help because they're observers and they make sure that the light is as pure as possible, and they want to use me to do that. And I couldn't do that without a high nervous system upgrade.
Okay. Can you give us an example of the sort of information you might be cleaning out?
Like Benjamin Fulford. I'm probably going to take his reports and highlight and basically do a thing where I explain exactly from the Pleiadian point of view what's up and what's not.
Good. That'd be very interesting because...
And it'll be me, right? It'll just be me.
Yep.
It'll be me responsible for the data. You can poke a finger and say, I don't like Benjamin Fulford or whatever, but that's what I'm doing. It's time to start that. Because, it's like people get so enamored with them, they support every word they say. And even so, because of that, it's not hard for entities to show up and start pulling strings the wrong way.
Yeah, well, see, those things are very easily hijacked. They only have to slip in,
right.
a certain amount of disinformation, and the whole thing still looks cogent, but it's actually, there's some serious lies going on. And the thing about Ben Fulford, for instance, Ben Fulford always says that he can't actually vet a lot of his information. It's totally on his feeling as to whether it's trustworthy or not. So, it's inevitable that there's disinformation in there. And
right.
if you guys can clean it up, I presume that channeling sources and things like that?
There's too many channeling sources, but if I feel compelled, like they tell me that I need to check out the latest Sheldon Nyler or whatever, he's really good, but sometimes I'm not going to go on him right away.
Look, I read through things like Sheldon Nyler stuff occasionally, and certain paragraphs leap out at me as being rubbish or wrong, and certain others actually feel quite good. It's a real mixture. I wouldn't be at all surprised if it needed a clean up, because The guys who are slipping this, or the entities that are slipping this information in there, have been doing it for a long time, and they're really good at it. And even though Sheldon's got a lot of experience, I don't think he can tell the difference when bits and pieces get either hijacked or changed literally in transit. It's pretty sneaky stuff.
Yeah.
But if you have a final filter, if you've got a final filter down on the ground, that would be of great assistance to people.
Yeah. I'm also, oh God, the timeline started really getting so chaotic in the sense that more and more of anything is possible, basically, with all the people that are around me, including the collective imagination group. Anything is possible sort of became like too many timelines to bother with,
Yep.
But I can now I'm just like, you have like 200 timelines to choose from. I can help people now with their personal timelines to help them sort out which one they prefer in the moment. But they're changing so often, it's like it doesn't even matter almost. Just follow your bliss, and you'll be on just the right one, the right way. So, but however, I can speak to collectives timelines even better now. It's more pronounced. The visuals are much more clear, and the sensations are much more pronounced. I have a lot of bad news and good news, and I'm not even sure if we should do it on this recording because it's like there's so much happening just this week coming up, and I want to do everything justice by me having a little bit more energy, sleep, or something.
Yeah. Well, is there anything you want to talk about right now in terms of the collective represented by the people who's still buying the mainstream Kool-Aid?
I don't want to sound cruel, but there are local realities, just like what we're talking about, these local realities, they're going to be total shit. They're going to be shitholes, and people are going to choose them. Really? They already exist. But it would be like exactly what they want to use to develop their ascension process more quickly. Okay? Mm-hmm. The other thing is that a lot of people are really meant to decide to leave. And they'll know exactly at the point at which they're ready to do so, and they'll do so.
Mm-hmm. You mean physically or climb on a ship?
Physically.
Okay.
Physically. So just be like, once the noose is loosened just enough on the veil, they'll be like, that was great, I'm going to go. But most of them, I would say 90% of the people who should have already ascended at this point, who should have been bored with the old system, they're going to stick around and sort of support these collective spaces, these collective energy spaces, because they really are really high energy magnets for others. And then when they feel that those communities have developed well enough that they don't need the source, then they'll move. Now this is actually very different than the idea of like a guru starting like an ashram, okay?
Yeah.
This is like real ascended people are very meek, and they're very real, and they bleed, and they cry, and they experience visceralness of life. You know people like this already, and they're people, and they play in the environment. They don't want to just sit in a chair and, chant all day and, repeat, wisdom or something like that. They need to live the way the others are living to be the best example for showing what it's like. Nobody wants to go around trying to become swamis just to become enlightened anymore. Mm. That's like old-fashioned.
How far off are you seeing these collectives, these local realities, as becoming really
they already started, but this month is, at least for me, it's the point at which I'm compelled that it should be started at least as early as this month. Time is now. Time of action is now. I have high, crazy empowerment, and I have high, crazy soul family that's in the same space, and we're gonna do this thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to be working with Eva coming up here with Bill. Bill has been in a serious state of deprivation of true love. And, you know, he just constantly is getting messed with. And, you know, I'm looking for others as well who are following the Bill Brock Raider group or in the Seattle area who would like to be on his visitation list to contact me. And we'll see if there's something there that Bill might be interested in. Because it turns out that all these people that are showing up who are interested in meeting Bill have particular skills with people who have gone through the kind of hell he's gone through. I mean, sure, he's in like minimum security or whatever, but, you know, he's attacked on non-physical ways constantly to make sure he stays in check. And the environment that he's living within does not support an ability to expand mind and express love very easily. So, these sorts of things.
Interesting.
Light work.
Okay.
A whole massive skill.
Yeah, well, I think that's going to be a huge part of the agenda. Look, back to the collective consciousness and current geopolitics. Okay, I guess the question that's on my mind is that the sort of thing I'm looking for, I guess, is information on events that really bring to the attention of everybody that a major shift is taking place. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about, you know, the event, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But just the geopolitics in the next month or two. Any useful information on that, or is it just too jumbled?
Well, no, I have good news and bad news. Good news is everybody who wants to get out of it will get a chance to get out of it. Bad news is that it's probably going to sustain itself for those who still support it with their energy. You're
talking about the system.
The system. Now, the governments are not going to be able to function as large-scale governments very well without large numbers of people's energy. That basically, the populations of countries are going to be reduced simply by the number of people who are going to get into off-grid scenarios. Right? Yep. Off-grid doesn't mean you don't have internet either. Just so you know, it doesn't mean you have to live in a hut with no electricity.
I mean, you could be off-grid in the middle of suburbia.
Yeah, but anyhow, it's just the realities that have the crumminess to them are still desired by some, and so they will have their own place. But the percentages will slowly be overcome because those who are recognizing themselves and their power within the lighter collectives will basically outshine the surface of the planet. And these groups will decide to take their interests off the planet.
Off the planet.
That makes sense. But for a while, basically, it's going to be about like shrinking them, shrinking their size and impact and influence. And the light communities sparking up by them getting together and by basically increasing the light and glowing brighter and brighter. What we have is a freight train of the old system cruising but is out of fuel. And we have the freight train for light finding fuel coming out of the sky practically, just making it easier and easier to keep swooping and whatnot and going fast. And that train is practically already past the point at which they're a match for the dark entity momentum.
Yeah.
So it's about shrinking the parasite's nourishment and expanding the light side's nourishment.
Yep. That's a concept that sort of description is one that comes up a lot in conversations that I have with other people about how this transition will take place. It'll be like one ship slowing down and sinking and another one offloading the citizens from that sinking ship into one which is cruising by and ready to zoom off.
So one of the reasons why I'm asking nobody to check out at this point, because life seems like it's really crap for some and they want to check out. When you are loved by another as if they were your soulmate, All you want to do is experience their space. And that is in the cards for everybody. Okay? And the Morocco group and the Shasta group are just the beginning. Basically what I'm saying about that. We're examples, and we're also empowered enough to be able to speak publicly in our power so that people can recognize what it looks like, so to speak, a little bit of what it looks like. So my transitioning show now is going to involve bringing a lot of my soul family that I met this last weekend onto my show so that you can see what it's like. And there's going to be a lot of tears and bubbly emotions, and just too bad. That's the way I am now. So.
Hey, look, that's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic, Julien. Okay, look, I'll keep going with my list of stuff to ask you.
Okay.
The thing that's on people's minds is the thing that everyone calls the event.
Yeah.
Which is starting to sound less like an event, more like a process, and starting to be, to me, it's the appearance of so things like shared dream time, shared local realities. You know, rather than something miraculous where everybody suddenly necessarily grows wings, as it were.
That's right. That's right. And no, it actually is a miraculous event. I'm sorry.
Hey, don't be sorry. If it's miraculous, I'll be delighted.
So what the event does, and really the easiest way to understand it, is that Earth will allow itself to expand so that the minimum threshold of energy desired will be able to go up a stage. Now this involves the soul families getting together, okay? They don't have to get together in real time. They can be just in dream time. They just need to know that they've met other people and they meet them over and over in their dreams and be like, I keep seeing these people in my dreams. The dreams are so real, and my dreams are much more easier to remember, and it's the same people all the time. I gotta meet them. I gotta find out who they are. Okay? These sensations will become greater and greater, and you'll be drawn more and more to searching and synchronistically finding. Maybe not even synchronistically finding. Maybe someone will make a directory. I don't know. But the point is, the dream time is where a high level of efficiency of decision-making energy gets done. We have to say we make a lot of decisions during our day, but a lot wiser information gets handled in the dream space. And you also don't have prejudices with regards to the people that you're meeting, because you feel them. You're already in the high empathy space. I went through this physically this last weekend, so the ball's already rolling. Okay?
Yep.
So it starts with non-physical, gets into physical. Overall, across the planet, when the love or the next dimensional frequency overall is at a space that's good enough, all the darks, everyone in dark polarity is going to get the memo, because the light won't notice a whole lot. But those all in the dark will all get the memo that, get off or get ready to get your face smothered in some love. Because the whole planet's going to do like a little bump. It's going to go up a full dimensional octave.
Yeah.
Now under those circumstances, the planet will keep doing that over the process of years. And each time that happens, the world will become more dreamlike, more plastic, and more able to be played around with. And things like, the structures that we already have that, we think are like crummy government structures. These bumps that I've been feeling, these are just sort of like baby bumps. But they're increasing and they're getting bigger per the desire and per the energy allowing that to occur. So it's like the worst can't survive right now, like they used to 10 years ago, because the bumps have eliminated their vibrational space to exist. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I hope. Anyhow, you were saying?
The event itself is, in your view of the energetic timeline, is the event dependent on the level of consciousness of the people itself, or is it just going to happen at a certain divine point, regardless of what's going on with the people?
No, the rapidity and the intensity of the bumps are important, and I'll be right on top of that. I'll share them when I know about them and when I see them coming, because what it's really doing is it's waiting for everyone to be ready, because they don't want to make it impossible to cling on to reality as it changes.
Yep.
So that just supports the negative energy, saying that the world's going to hell in a handbasket, and they'll just program you to create the reality, the new plastic reality, the way they want you to do it.
Yep.
So the bumping is more like a nudging of the birds out of the nest for the dark end, for the dark side of things, for the most part. And for those in the light side of things who have egos where they're not learning and processing anymore. So even some of the highest ego light people who are, speaking the same thing year to year, will have to, take a moment to see if there's anything more to explore and offer in diversity, because a lot of them still have this guru presence and things like this. They're gonna get a little pushed around too, little ego humbling.
Cool. So when do you see the next bump turning up?
I see it this year. I see it this year. Not this. The event I don't think will happen this year, personally. I think it'll happen near the end of the year. That's just my personal feelings based on looking at the collective consciousness inviting the bumps. And there's going to be a bump this month, around the end of this month. And then I think there's actually going to be a second one that's almost as powerful, but not quite, maybe the next weekend or something. But, if the cabal or the dark energies want to play, well, it'll come faster. It'll be great if they played, in my opinion, because they're just, force the bumps to come sooner.
Yeah, look, the sooner we can get this show on the road, the better it'll be.
Yeah, well, I don't want to exclude you, but my show's running real well right now. It's really exciting. So I feel like I'm in a really great place.
You sound like you're really happy, extremely happy. No doubt. And I am very interested in sharing my experiences with others in the coming days and time. I have lots of projects that I couldn't possibly do all myself, that develop self-sustaining, scenarios within the old structure. Because, a lot of these safe houses, just reminding you, they're gonna be physical locations located in places that may be kind of crummy. So it's like they'll need to find a way to survive it. They'll need to find a way to have an import-export, perhaps, because they might not be able to make everything internally. And so the people that particularly know what's going on will the guys who can put the foot in and the foot out, right, will be the ones holding the space. Yeah.
Correct? And then they'll gain, and that would be really hard by itself. But those who are fully committed to just living in the light paradigm within will be basically like high energy supporters to keep them, going. Because it's like, they may, having a job and bringing money to the household may still be, kind of important, but it won't be every have a job, something. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, look, there's going to be all sorts of permutations and combinations of people in these little communities, and some will be able to remain completely isolated, and some will be partially, necessary to interact with the system.
You'll note that there's a difference between a nice person and someone who's your soul family. And you'll know the difference.
Yeah, well, look,
it's like soulmate feeling, right?
Yep. Well, if you form a community that is so strongly linked, there is nothing they couldn't overcome, really.
Correct.
They'll always work out a solution.
And it's not like you're marrying them. It's not like you have to be boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever. It's just like you're people.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is that you don't expect that your lifetime is meant to be just with those people. You have multiple soul families that you're equally invited to, and you may want to play in different soul families over time.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things. Andrew, apparently is a member of every soul family on the planet.
That's because he's an activator. When he's done his activating, post event, he's actually going to change.
Okay.
That's what I think. He hasn't told me this, but there's a point at which his data is all available for anyone, and at that point as well, he won't have to do direct readings anymore. It really takes a lot of energy for him to do that.
Yep.
Because really, it's like living in Neverland in your mind, and it's hard to keep your body intact. You just don't doesn't vibrationally easily sustain itself when you're living in the light. It's like it's actually part of the problem that a lot of our ET friends have to deal with when they come visit down here. They have to hold their pattern together.
Yes.
Because they don't, they're expecting some opportunity to return. They want to go back, but if they stay here too long, they'll get lost. They'll get the veil programming involved, and they will get stuck, and they'll become no more any special than any one of us.
Fascinating.
So, yeah.
So it's a kind of a trap down here for them.
Yeah. So they're hoping for a couple more bumps, and the event, of course, makes it very easy after that point. But they're going to get to visit the local realities as they're established and as they are present harmonics that they can survive within without putting a lot of effort out to keep it.
Yep. Good stuff.
It's like, it's almost like something as simple as like, how long could you feel comfortable swimming around in an ice-cold lake that has like icebergs in it?
Uh-huh.
Or how long would you feel comfortable swimming around a hot springs where it's boiling constantly? You just wouldn't be able to stick around the whole time. It's just like, oh God, this is like too much. I need a break. So yeah, they'll do probably visits. Probably what they'll end up doing, because it's just incompatible energy balance.
Yeah. Do you know if have the Pleiadians discussed any more of their plans to actually reveal themselves physically to enlighten people?
We're supposed to start seeing motherships instead of just scout craft.
Well, that'll be good.
Like big 60-foot wide saucers and cigarette ships that have lights around the edges and things.
Excellent.
That's what they tell me, but I'm just saying that. They're not telling me when that is. If they were supposed to start seeing that. No, actually, somebody at Shasta saw one. Somebody was like on this hiking, and they were hiking a really high bluff, and he saw a mothership like that down in the woods. Like you could see out over the woods and stuff, and there was one like a mile out or more, just like nestled in the woods. He came back. I'd never met the guy, but I saw it on his face.
So, Julian, do you think any of the other guys turned up physically at Shasta, and worked the crowd as you could say?
Well, it's actually, considering the environment of the energy, I have to say there actually were a couple that decided to come and walk amongst the other people around.
Mm-hmm.
and that there was some of that going on, but not that I'm being told about from my experience.
So you didn't actually meet those?
I did not actually meet them. No.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
anyway. And as far as the stuff that Andrew was recording, he was doing a lot of recording of history of the planet.
Last 53 million year history of the planet and the importance that it has in the scheme of things. I mean, it's not like, he goes 1 year at a time. He just covers all the main data points that we need to know, the truth about Atlantis and what happened and all the different games that are being played, and then the discussions on the control grid and how it used to be, like an 8D planet, and how it became a lower D planet, and all this sort of stuff.
That's going to be a very, very interesting series. And I gather it's around about 15 hours, 20 hours of stuff?
Yeah. But the cool thing is, it's all going up on YouTube. I'm working with a couple other people to get it all ready. And, they're like somewhere between like 20 minutes to 45 minutes, maybe, a session. And he's being interviewed, actually. The questions are coming through a really awesome interviewer named Lance White. I don't know if you're familiar with him. But he's been interviewing sort of he's been interviewing, the real profound people out in society, doing big disclosure of information and sharing. He's been doing that for, I think like 2 decades or something. Mm-hmm. And he has his own show and stuff. But anyhow, he's really excellent, and I think you're really going to love him. He's a really wonderful inspiration as an interviewer, considering you do a bit of that yourself.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll have to check him out.
And I'll be keeping everybody up tabs on that. It's going to be a YouTube space that's going to get them, but it's not going to be put out without the transcripts, which means that we're going to put all the wording in there, so you can turn on, English, French, Spanish, or whatever. What we need to do is get all the English transcripts.
Yep, well,
and I'm looking for...
That's a lot of work, because Andrew packs a lot of data to do everything he does.
Yeah, so I'm looking for help, just specifically for this project. Anybody who loves Andrew and feels they can start to do some transcribing. The good, cool thing is that you'll get to hear the information before it's sort of public, so to speak. But reach out to me on Facebook or Skype, and we'll talk and see if it's a good match or something. Because Andrew doesn't have time nowadays to speak to everybody. After this weekend, he needs like a serious vacation.
Yeah.
He's really super like energy, and it's hard to talk with him and stuff. I mean, it worked because he was with the Soul Family group, but in the end, it was like you could just see it on his face. He couldn't go to sleep either. He was like stuck having to stay up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like a hell of a weekend. Yeah.
Oh man, I know it sounds like it's really out there stuff, but that's it. If you guys are interested in listening to me at this point, you're still listening. That's where I'm going, man. So, I'm not going to be shy anymore. I'm speaking heart 100%. So.
Well, I think you're going to get a big audience over at the Transitioning, and I look forward to hearing from some of these people that you've met. Yeah.
In fact, I don't even think I can wait till transitioning. I think they might just be regular guests in the future. I'm just going to start getting recordings with them and stuff.
Look,
I didn't get a chance to. I was going to do that, but in the end, it's like so much was happening, and those sorts of things could actually happen after. We all have cell phones and things like this. We can do it afterwards.
Sure. But, look, it sounds like it's opened up a whole new vista of stuff for Julien Wells.
Yeah. Oh man. Crazy transformation and excitement abounds. I've got like a litter of 2,000 puppies now. That's you forget 101 Dalmatians, thinking like 2,000 puppies.
That's crowded.
Yeah, but I've got new insights now into portals, into crystal work, into massage energies, and get this, I'm going to start talking on sensual touch energies, not sex, but sensual touch energies and practices, and you know, and all sorts of other subjects, I guess, that I've been sort of privy to with finding all sorts of people into this stuff. I'm not like really a healer, right? But apparently, it's just a good skill to have on, you know, handy.
Well, it would be.
It's kind of like combat medic sort of skill level.
Yep, that would be very handy.
Yeah. Because we always find each other in places where we might be able to offer support. But, yeah, Andrew was like doing crazy healing stuff, like healing cancer and things. And for some people, they like cross the country to see him. And some of them like by car, because they didn't have any money for like a plane and things. You know, I have a very high respect for him, and I'm going to work with him to also establish a sort of like a Wikipedia or like a SharePoint on his galactic history data, and you know, do some technical writing to make it in the neutral form of prose or whatever form that's adequate. And it's, you know, it's not going to be like Wikipedia exactly, because they can remove Wikipedia. It's going to be something that we can keep replacing back on the web in case they get really pissed off that it's floating around there. But I am looking for help for people who are interested in doing some of that, populating of that as well. It'll be like a growing tree. It'll be, you know, we'll just add data as we go through it. But it's supposed to be pretty indexable, and multiple subjects will expand and probably turn into like a newsletter or something. Andrew does need a revenue stream, so we might set that up and actually support that as an employment form for those who want to work for it, because we'll turn it into, you know, maybe like a subscribed periodical that gives you updates and things.
Sure.
As to what data's been added or something.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
It's a huge amount of information to deal with, and you know, there's going to be much help needed to get that up. Well, it needs to get up and running as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Especially
well, that's it. I'm like
the amount of disinformation that's floating around out there still.
Well, you know, in the same vein, like if you get information out, other people who read it can help get people sorted straight on like what the data is, right? The reason why I like the cross-index searchable is that you can, you know, look into whatever subject has been added at that point, you know, and you can do your own research, and if any of it is interesting to you, then fantastic. But at the same time, I'm sure people will start talking about particular points of data, and it'll really resonate, because some people will have that information within them. Like, yeah, I knew that. He talks to each person has like little pieces of the puzzle that make up the big picture, and some have like have genetic families that they've been connected into, where they have a couple more pieces than others, like myself. It was easy for me to wake up kind of quick because of that. But they'll be able to vet each, you know, point of data, and then they can use that as a source for how they share how they have a piece of the puzzle, and they can share that with others easily without having to do a whole lot of explaining. They just say, this is, you know, we talked about this once, and I know this, and this is something I'm into. You can find it here, and then you can find how it relates to all this other stuff.
Cool. Very cool indeed.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Now, Julien, I think we've distracted you from your driving for long enough. It's been absolutely fascinating conversation, and it's fairly long too. And how much more driving do you have to do? How many more hours?
I got at least another hour or more.
Excellent. Well, we hopefully we got you over the hump. Speaking of bumps.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
but before we go, what was the absolute highlight of your time at Shasta? What's top of the pile for you?
The highlight?
Mm-hmm.
The highlight It's going to make me cry, so I'm just going to try to compose myself. The highlight was finding my people and knowing that everyone finds exactly who they need to find when they open themselves up to that opportunity. Because that is where the energy begins to flow the fastest and the hardest. Money is like not currency. Co-creation is more potent than singular creation. And that was a really big deal for me. And I don't know how many hugs were had, but more than I can remember. Wow. I'll have to use my program tinker to tell me what the number is.
Have to let us know what your score was.
Yeah.
It's been great, Julien. We'll sign off now. And
okay, great.
Everyone, I'll put this up tomorrow. I'll get this put up tomorrow. And so everyone get a chance to listen to it before the show on the weekend so they can get their list of questions ready.
Great.
I think you're going to have a busy show.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
And Julien, thanks for your time and drive safely.
Yes, I will.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye.